The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Championship continues as we head into race number 6 on the season. It's the Food City 500 and our first trip to the Bristol Motor Speedway on the concrete short track. Our first traditional short track of the season of a mile or less in length, so this should be a good one, beating and banging likely throughout. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get into this next full race live stream on the channel. It has been quite some time since the last Cup race on the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 video game. Where we last left off was at Darlington for the Dodge Challenger 400. And we ended up seeing a last lap pass for the win where Kevin Harvick was able to get the victory after our leader, with our driver Jimmy Johnson, had wrecked on the final lap trying to get around a lap car coming to the white flag, unfortunately. So we'll see if we can bounce back with a possible win here today. We've had 5 different winners in the first 5 races of the season. We'll see if we can continue to chase for that 8th title for Jimmy Johnson. It would technically be his first, but it would end up being an 8th because he did not win in the championship in the 2004 season. It would be his first. He would go on to win 7 more. So there we go. Patrick Shadley, Ethan, welcome to the stream. When's the Roval? Question mark. I know I keep postponing it. I feel bad. We were supposed to do it on Monday. And, man, what was it that I couldn't do it Monday? I know yesterday I couldn't do it just because I wasn't home. I wasn't home in time. I'm thinking Monday. What happened on Monday? Because we ran Talladega Sunday. Why can't I remember what happened on Monday? I'm trying to think of, like, what I did. Now I gotta go back and look at it. I think we did the modified series on Monday. Oh, no, I was going to do it. That's right. I was going to do it on Monday, but the NASCAR Heat 5 game crashed. That's what it was. I had to go back through and simulate everything, and it took me like 2 hours to do it. So I couldn't, I didn't have enough time to do it on that Monday, so that's why we ran the modified series race. That's right. That's right. So, I don't know. I don't know when the Roval, I want to watch. I can't, I'm trying. I'm trying. Trust me. I want to run the rest of the career mode for NASCAR Heat 5 as well. And it's not like I'm postponing this on purpose. We would have ran it on Monday if NASCAR Heat 5 didn't crash on me and sent me back further in the career mode. So I have to get caught up with that first. I thought I was going to have more time than what I did yesterday when I was off to get it all done. I didn't. That's why we didn't stream. Didn't stream that yesterday. We did stream NASCAR Heat 5, though. It will come eventually. It will come eventually. Either Sunday or Monday is probably what we're looking at. Those are the next 2 days off. Definitely won't be able to get to it tomorrow. And obviously tonight we'll run this Cup Series race here because I'm still not fully caught up with simulating. So here we go. No practice, no qualifying. We'll hope for the best. Jimmy Johnson's going to be starting at the rear of the field in this one. Actually, let me pause it real quick to turn the game volume down because I know that's probably going to be blasting your guys' ears, especially here at Thunder Alley, Bristol Motor Speedway. There we go. Kyle Larson fan, welcome to the stream as well. Green flag in the air. Rocket Man Ryan Newman qualified on the pole and leads the field to the green at Bristol. We've ran a truck in a Busch Series race already here. This is the first Cup race on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 at the Bristol Motor Speedway. 500 laps in the Food City 500 for this day race. Pretty good drive off the exit of turn 2 that time for Johnson. Checking up quite a bit, getting into turns 3 and 4. Got to be super patient in a race like this. All right, Johnson's getting into the back of Sterling Marlin in the middle of turns 3 and 4. That was the accidental bump and run. A little sideways getting into turn 1 that time as well. Let a car get back underneath him again. Topside doesn't work quite as well at Old Bristol compared to what you see nowadays. Otherwise, I'd be running up there. It is a fight for the bottom. Couple of the Ganassi cars back here right now. Casey Mears and Sterling Marlin. The 41 and the 40. Problem with being at the back and everything bunched together with everything being 2x2 on that initial start is if there's a huge checkup or a crash of some sort, might be in the wrong place. You're Jimmy Johnson in that 48 team. Finally split up the Ganassi cars. Greg Biffle's near the back right now as well. He's in the top 5 of the point standings coming into this race. Ricky Craven stuck on the outside as well. Future teammate Casey Mears is the one making the moves on the bottom, and he's just kind of following the 22 of Scott Wimmer, the rookie. Bill Davis Racing Machine. Johnson caught one of his teammates now, Terry Labonte, through turns 1 and 2. We'll get around him. A little contact with one of the fantasy drivers, the 177 car. Kind of pushed up the racetrack just a little bit. A couple Roush cars outside the top 30. Mark Martin's outside the top 30 as well as Greg Biffle here early on. Johnson drove it in deep into 1 and 2. He wanted to make sure he was going to clear Kyle Petty that time. Jeff Gordon also towards the back here. A lot of the usual front runners towards the back. Jeff Gordon just got into the back of Michael Waltrip, getting into turn 3, used the bump and run on him, and making that contact. The 22 of Scott Wimmer checked up, thinking that they might have wrecked, and Johnson got into the back of Wimmer as well. So a little bit of a chain reaction. Oh, Mears puts the bumper now to Jimmy Johnson. Johnson hangs on to it. Still stuck up on the outside, though. Ultimate, welcome to the stream. Man, this is not a good situation to be on the outside at Old Bristol. Johnson's got to find his way back to the bottom. And it looks like his teammate Terry Labonte is going to let him to the inside after the 22 is able to fend off Jimmy Johnson. Casey Mears and Mark Martin get on by as well. Ryan Newman's led the first 17 laps of today's race at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Waltrip back on the outside again. Johnson gets around him and Mark Martin all the way through turns 3 and 4. Drives it underneath the 41 of Casey Mears. There's just a huge hole on the bottom that Johnson just passed about 5 or 6 cars in about a lap to a lap and a half. Now he's underneath his teammate Jeff Gordon. Shoved up the track a little bit. Barely clears him off turn 4. And now he's got to settle in line behind the 133 again and try to hold off his teammate Gordon. Another faster car as far as equipment goes with Mark Martin in the 6. Just trying to keep his car clean. It's very early into a 500 lap race. And in these older EA Sports video games, those are harder laps than what you would see in a full race live stream in the NASCAR Heat Series, as far as the survival of things go. That's why Johnson's really taking his time through this traffic. If he can get to the gas early, he's actually getting it to stick for the most part on the inside groove. And that's where he's making his passes. Another Roush car, Jeff Burton outside the top 20. So 3 Roush cars and 3 Hendrick cars outside the top 20 in the first 25 laps of the Food City 500 at Bristol. One car, Robbie Gordon, going to make a pass to one of the fantasy drivers. Johnson follows him. Gordon maybe trying to follow his teammate Kevin Harvick. Wimmer almost crowded Johnson. Scott Wimmer's on the move, though, as well. He's moved up over 10 spots since the start of the race, but now he's stuck on the outside after Harvick and Johnson got around him. Robbie Gordon looking to pass the 22 as well, and all the Chevrolets are starting to move forward. Dodge leading the field of Ryan Newman in the 12 for Penske Racing. Harvick on the inside of Brian Vickers. Vickers, the highest running Hendrick Chevrolet right now. Lap 28, and he's in the 19th position. Dale Jr. puts the bumper now to the 42 of Jamie McMurray, trying to use a bump and run to get around him. I believe that's Dale Jr. up there. It might not be. Might be a fantasy driver. It's hard to tell from back here. Vickers lets his teammate through, so he can cut back down to the bottom behind him. There's Matt Kenseth outside the top 15. My goodness. Crazy that this is a game in the mid-2000s and there's so many Roush and Hendrick cars outside the top 15. All 4 Hendrick cars and 4 of the 5 Roush cars are outside the top 15. Johnson just moving himself into the top 15 as we speak. Aggressively moving his way forward. Another bump and run up there, the 43 car. Going a little wide. I think Bobby Labonte was the driver who made the bump. Caution free through the first 33 laps. A quick 33 laps at that. Get about 4 laps in a minute here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. These 14 to 16 second lap times at the world's fastest half mile. DB Forever 85, welcome on in. Jimmy Johnson comes in just outside the top 10 of the point standings, currently 11th coming into the 6th race of the season today. Still trying to rally after a poor Daytona 500 finish to start. Got a win in the 2nd race of the season at Rockingham on fuel mileage, and that's his only win so far this season. Though he has had 3 top 5 finishes since then as well. I should say in total this year, through the first 5 races, he's got 3, 2 since the win. And he's finished in the top 10 every race outside of the Daytona 500. Leaders are almost into lap traffic. Shows how competitive the field is in this game. It doesn't matter what series it is. It seems like it takes a little bit for the leaders to get to lap traffic. Even 40 laps here at Bristol. Maybe part of why Ryan Newman still has the race lead. Jimmy a little loose off of turn 2, then pushed a little tight overdrive in the corner into turn 3. Couldn't really arc the angle out because of how short these straightaways are here at Bristol. Mostly turning around this racetrack. Took him the entire back straightaway to catch the race car. And that time he entered into the corner way lower than what he wanted to. Good run off turn 2. Johnson underneath Stewart for position. Ward Burton in the 0 trying to put a bump and run move now on Joe Nemechek in the 0-1. Johnson trying to put Ward Burton behind Bobby Labonte. Labonte got stuck on the outside. I don't know how Burton got stuck up behind him. Knowing Labonte is on the lead lap, so Jimmy Johnson has cracked the top 10 for the first time tonight. And again, he's trying to move himself forward. And rookie Casey Kane in the top 10. He just got passed by Joe Nemechek. Nemechek's having a really good run. For NB2 Motorsports. Johnson follows Nemechek. Out of ninth. We've seen the rookies of Brian Vickers and Casey Kane have pretty good starts to the season. See if maybe one of them can get a win at some point. Had a few top 10s. Maybe one of them could make the chase this season. Should be a much stronger Rookie of the Year battle compared to what we saw in the NASCAR Thunder 2004 season. While you did have drivers like Jamie McMurray and Greg Biffle in that class, they really hardly broke inside the top 20. I think McMurray won the Rookie of the Year by finishing in the back of the 20s in points, like 26, 27, 28, somewhere around there. So see if maybe Mears or Vickers can make a push for the chase. Jeff Green's a rookie. He had a great run in the Daytona 500 at the start of the season. Got a top 5. Nemechek gets around Dale Jr. Johnson follows him, and Johnson's just kind of following Nemechek through the top 5, or top 10 right now. Maybe going to be into the top 5 here before long. Both the Penske cars are up here in the top 10 of Rusty Wallace, Ryan Newman. This will be Wallace's final season in our NASCAR EA Sports game playthroughs. Johnson slid up the track. Luckily, he had the 32 with Ricky Craven clear. Joe Nemechek in the top 5. What a great run for him. Oh, a little bump off the exit of turn 2. Johnson got back into the gas a little soon. Got a little wide. Still underneath Nemechek as they're side by side for 5th. Nemechek tries to hold him tight into turn 1. And now Nemechek's probably going to get trained as he's stuck on the outside because even the lap car got back underneath him. And Jimmy Johnson is now in the top 5 for the first time tonight. Ryan Newman still led every lap so far. Rookie Brendan Gaughan having a good run early on at Bristol as well in the top 5. Johnson trying to pass him for 4th. Just lost a spot to Rusty Wallace and Jimmy Johnson that last lap. And Ryan Newman is right there. Kurt Busch in 2nd place all over his back bumper. Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Johnson both closing in. Johnson missed the bottom of the racetrack that time through 3 at 4. Still got a pretty decent exit to the corner and got back down to the bottom before the lap car behind him could get underneath him and trap him on the outside. Rusty Wallace cannot get around Earl Hall. Kind of pinched Johnson off, and Johnson let him back into the inside. Trying to avoid contact as much as possible, especially in the first 100 laps of a 500-lap race. Johnson clear off turn 2, getting around Rusty Wallace for 3rd. Greg Biffle lap down here early on. Newman continues to lead, and probably the heaviest lap traffic he has faced so far today. Johnson's starting to slide the car a little bit more on the exit of the corner. Getting a little loose as these tires are wearing out. Still not quite halfway through the fuel run, but I'd assume we're probably getting close to that point. Likely only going to be a 2 pit stop race today at Bristol. As long as they can make it 150 laps on fuel. Sorry, 175 laps on fuel, it'll be a 2-stop race. No problem. And Kurt Busch starting to pull away from Johnson a little bit more again. Jimmy got to third, and he's not getting through the lap traffic quite as well as he was. Finally got underneath Earl Hall. Great run in the center of the corner to clear him. Back underneath Sterling Marlin. Qualified near the back, hasn't really gained a whole lot of spots yet. Same with Greg Biffle and Mark Martin. Towards the back of the field right now as well. All of those guys are a lap down here early. Johnson pushed hard. He wanted to clear Norton. Norton's the next car in front of him. I don't know who that was. Still don't know all the generated drivers. There's quite a few of them in these EA Sports NASCAR video games. Johnson underneath Norton through 1 and 2. Drives it deep into 3 and 4. Pulls up the track, clears him. Norton going to try a little bit of a crossover, but Johnson beats him back to the gas. Just has an overall faster race car. Kurt Busch putting the bump to the lap car of Scott Riggs, who got in between him and Ryan Newman, allowed Newman to pull away a couple car lengths. And Johnson closes in on Kurt Busch for second place. 75 laps in the books, still caution free. Here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Food City 500 on the NASCAR Chase for the Cup video game. A season mode playthrough. Ryan Newman has led every lap so far. Kurt Busch in second, Jimmy Johnson third. Busch puts the bumper to Terry Labonte now as well. So he put the bumper to Scott Riggs, puts the bumper to another lap car of Terry Labonte. Really drove away from Johnson off turn 4 that time. Jimmy was still kind of stuck inside his teammate of Terry Labonte. Labonte, the driver we had used in our Thunder 04 fan voted season. You guys voted for me to run Jimmy Johnson here in NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, so we're doing a reverse Chase for 8 season here. Labonte got back around Kurt Busch because Jimmy Johnson got around him for second that last lap, and Labonte just followed his teammate right through there. So that other generated driver also got around Kurt Busch. So Jimmy Johnson, possibility of taking his first lead of the night on Ryan Newman, as he is within a few car lengths of him. After starting at the back, lap traffic has allowed him to charge forward. And he's right there getting into turn 3 all over the 12 of Newman. Still an impressive start, though, for the Rocket Man, who has led the first 80 laps of the race here today. Now Johnson's going to have to pick his spot. Ideally, if Jimmy can try to trap Newman behind one of these lap cars, the next lap car in front of Newman would be Michael Waltrip. And he'll get underneath Waltrip before Johnson can beat him enough off the exit of the corner to get inside of him. Newman really protecting the bottom into turn one. Somebody, I believe that was Ricky Rudd in the 21 car who just blew his engine on the inside of the track. He makes it to pit road. We stay green. Now to lap 84. Talked a little bit ago about Newman being in super heavy lap traffic. I think this might be the heaviest in front of the leaders all of a sudden. There we go. Halfway on fuel at lap 85. So these guys could probably take it to about lap... If I do my math right, about lap 170. 165, 170. Ooh, Johnson a little loose off turn four again. Tiny bit of contact with Ricky Craven. Nothing too much though. Johnson just can't really get close enough to Newman to make a move on him. Now he's close enough. Kind of missed the bottom of the racetrack. Newman slides up in the center of the court. Oh, contact with the lap cars. Contact with the lap cars, and they stacked up. Newman checked up. That was a shot for Johnson to get to the lead, but then he got into the back of one of the lap cars in front of him. Now that was Ricky Rudd. So Rudd wasn't the one that blew an engine. I don't know who it was that blew an engine. Now Rudd moves down right in front of Johnson. Side-by-side lap traffic in front of Jimmy, and Newman starting to get away. Johnson almost got to the lead underneath Ryan Newman. There was an opportunity, but then Rudd had to check up right in front of the 48, and Newman went by on the outside. And Newman found his way to the bottom pretty quickly, and Johnson did too, but that was a few lap cars in between the top two once again. Newman's starting to get away. He's getting through the lap traffic a lot better all of a sudden. Brian Vickers is Jimmy Johnson's teammate. He is right in front of Ryan Newman. We'll see if he can hold him up. Jeff Gordon's not too far in front of Ryan Newman as well, trying to stay on the lead lap as well. This could work out in Johnson's favor. Almost got underneath Vickers off turn four. Lap car's really crowding Jimmy Johnson. That would be the 141. Newman leaves the bottom open, and Jimmy Johnson is going to get to the lead in 3 and 4 using his teammate Brian Vickers as a pick. Newman leads the first 95 laps of the race. Jimmy Johnson leads lap 96, clears his teammate Vickers off turn 2 as well, putting out 2 lap cars between himself and Newman. So the 2002 Rookie of the Year candidates, now a couple years into their NASCAR Cup Series career at this time period, and running 1-2 here in the Food City 500. The leaders changed hands for the first time tonight, and we're nearly through the first 100 laps caution-free as well in this race. Then we're going to charge to the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson once again, though. By no means is he done. First time Newman has not led, though, so we'll have to see how he's going to be able to get around somebody who is just as fast as he is. took Johnson a while. He got to the back bumper of Newman, and it took him a good 20, 25 laps to finally find a way to get around him. I'm sure he wasn't pushing it too hard, but that traffic wasn't really cutting him any slack. I think Johnson's got to be thankful that he was able to catch Newman behind one of his teammates who was about to go lap down to Brian Vickers at the time. That really helped Johnson out quite a bit. Johnson's got to lead a lot of laps to catch up to Newman after Newman led the first 95. The good news is it's a 500-lap race, so it is possible. It's going to be a lot harder with Brian Newman, the driver who's led all those laps, breathing right down Jimmy Johnson's neck. Past Ward Burton that time through 1 and 2. Ryan Newman going to have to try to get under him through 3 and 4. Everything's so spaced apart here, and this is where you would hate to see a caution because you don't know when it's going to be. These corners are so blind. You get into the entrance of the corner, and if there's a crash on the exit, you're really banking on your spotter to call it out. Ryan Newman just so effortlessly drives underneath Johnson off turn 4, gets around him, and leads that last lap at the line. So he led the first 95 laps, and Johnson led for 9 laps before Ryan Newman leads again at lap 105 and 106. Pretty good battle within the top 2 here early on. Jimmy is right there. A little push to the back of Newman off turn 2. I think Mark Martin's already a lap down. He's in danger of going 2 laps down. I think Newman does have the fastest car in the field because really it took a ways into lap traffic for Johnson to catch him. And it took him a good 20, 25 laps to get around him the first time. Now he's underneath Newman off turn 2. It's going to take him a lot less to get around him this time. Oh, lap car squeezed off Jimmy Johnson. Johnson still leads the lap at the line on the 12. 184 did not give any room to the 48. Johnson's clear off turn 2 finally. Now he gets back into the 184 of Earl Hall. 3 wide. Kyle Petty to the inside. Newman to the outside. Johnson holds up Newman in that upper lane. Slapped the wall off turn 2 as well. And that opened the door for Newman to cross him back over. Lap traffic really getting in the way of the leaders. These guys trying not to go a lap down. And I know this is still about 60 laps away from green flag pit stops, but if we get some, you have to be wondering if we are going to get a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops, because you don't see green flag pit stops at tracks like Bristol and Martinsville too often. You are going to lose 2 to 3 laps on pit road alone. So you do not want to be one of the first cars to pit if you can help it. And these guys on over 100 lap older tires right now, they're going to want to get fresher tires about as soon as they possibly can. Newman's already led over 100 laps tonight. Gets into the back of Kyle Petty in 1 and 2. That checks up the 12 of Newman, and the 48 of Johnson right there again. Goes to the outside in turns 3 and 4. This is a risky move, especially early on. Look at Jimmy Johnson to the lead on the outside at Old Bristol. He couldn't clear Newman, but he did lead the lap at the line. And Newman fights him back in 1 and 2. Johnson has to try to get his way back down to the bottom again as Mark Martin's underneath him briefly. Now Johnson can hop in line before he gets into turn 1. So briefly, he did get to the lead to get 1 lap led in there, but he couldn't clear Newman. There were too many cars in front of the 12 that were a lap down or about to go a lap down that there was just no chance for Jimmy to get back in front of him. And the only reason he was even able to lead that lap was because of the lap cars on the bottom, right in the same line that Newman was in. And it cost him just enough. But is that something that Johnson can test for at lap 120 that he knows could work if it's the final lap of the race in this kind of a situation? That if they check up at the perfect time and he gets a good enough run, he doesn't have to beat Newman by a full car length to win the race. He only has to beat him by a bumper. Maybe even less than a bumper. Seem to get a lot of close finishes with this game. It would not be impossible if it came down to a situation like that late. That's very true, Ethan. We saw in the Bristol night race last season, there were only 6 drivers that finished the race on the lead lap because of a caution coming out in the middle of green flag pit stop. So if you can help it, you do not want to pit here under green at Bristol. Without the practice and qualifying, Johnson loves the handling of his race car, but Ryan Newman definitely has the fastest car in the field tonight. But he got caught in the lap traffic. Newman trying to pinch Johnson down. Jimmy trying to pinch Newman behind the lap car of Sterling Marlin. In contact with Marlin getting into turn 1. But Johnson's clear and back to the lead. And he finally gets back underneath Sterling Marlin. It's crazy though, because Newman doesn't have to use the lap cars to get around Johnson. I think every time Jimmy's gotten around Ryan Newman, he's used the lap car as a pick. So that just, again, it goes to show how fast of a car Ryan Newman's got tonight. I mean, just qualifying on the pole and leading the first 95 laps alone and leading over 100 laps in a race that's only about 130 laps old is also telling of itself. That is not easy no matter where you're at, especially at a track like Bristol. Personal favorite racetrack. Ooh, Johnson really loose into turn 1. Got a little less than a quarter of a tank of fuel left, so we're getting closer to green flag pit stops. Probably about 20 to 30 laps away now from him. Johnson could probably take his to about lap 165, 170. We'll see if anybody pits before that. But Johnson's going to stay out as long as he possibly can on foot. At least wants to get to lap 165. Make sure he can try to get this race in on 2 pit stops if we miraculously go caution free, which I doubt we're going to, but not here at least. Cars One Boy, welcome to the stream. Jimmy indeed. Johnson just cannot pull away from Newman like Newman's able to do with Johnson when he can get to the lead at times. Whether it's lap traffic or not. I'd say these are the 2 fastest cars, but I think it's pretty definite that Ryan Newman has the fastest car in the field. It is not going to be an easy fight for Jimmy, that 48 crew today. Again, you never know how cautions can play out in this one, especially if they're in the middle of green flag pit stops, which could be coming up very soon. Johnson finally gets underneath the 177. He beat him to the inside. Turns 1 and 2, slides up in front of him off the exit of the corner. Joe Nemechek was in the top 10 earlier, and he very well could be in the top 10 right now as well. Shows how many cars Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson have lapped already. This epically long green flag run to start the race. Well, if we were in stage racing, the end of stage 1 would have already came about. We would have had at least a restart. And now we have a caution. For the first time today at lap 140, caution will wave in the Food City 500. And we'll take a look at what it is on the replay. Ryan Newman goes for a spin off turn 2, and Ricky Rudd piles into the right side of Newman's race car. So Newman gets a little loose off turn 2, slides into the wall, and after the spin, Ricky Rudd hits him in the right front. Nowhere to go for the 21 of Rudd. That's our first caution of the race, and we're going to be seeing likely some pit stops here at Bristol Motor Speedway under the caution. Oh, not everybody's going to pit here. Actually, well, they might all be pitting. I don't know. Ryan Newman stays out, and that's very interesting. Johnson and Kurt Busch, first and third, will come into the pits. Very interesting call from Ryan Newman, unless his pit stop's on the back straightaway. It's the only other thing I can think of. But if he does not pit here, I'm very shocked. I'd be very, very shocked. Jimmy Johnson wins the race off pit road by a nose. Yeah, and exactly what the crew chief said. So very mind-boggled at why there were some drivers that did not pit there. It looked like Rusty Wallace stayed out as well. Brendan gone. So the Penske cars all stayed out. It's like Casey Kane stayed out as well. Maybe it was a Dodge call. Top 4 cars stayed out of the pits. They were all Dodges. Johnson, first driver on 4 fresh tires, rips around Brendan Gaughan pretty quickly. But not everybody pitting. Some of these guys couldn't even take the wave around, even if they wanted to. Rusty Wallace, Casey Kane up near the front. Casey Kane actually in the lead right now, so he's getting some bonus points. 5 of them for leading the lap. Newman stuck behind his teammate Rusty Wallace, but he's on older tires anyway. Johnson a little contact with Rusty. Jimmy already up to second, and he is running down Casey Kane in a heartbeat. Inside, Kane off turn 2, and the rookie's about to lose the race lead. Another young gun, Jimmy Johnson. Lead change at the start-finish line there. He's clear finally into turns 1 and 2 as well. R6, welcome to the stream, by the way. Johnson completely whiffed in turns 3 and 4. Shuts the door on Casey Kane before he can get underneath him. It's going to be really difficult for Casey Kane to get back around. Casey lost the bottom in 1 and 2, and Rusty Wallace almost got around him. Newman to the inside of his teammate Rusty Wallace for 3rd place. It's not really going to matter much, though, and those Dodgers have to pit. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. The only thing I can think of is that it's still a 2 pit stop race to the finish, but not entirely sure. I'm not really going to know until we get later in this race and we just see how these cautions are going to play out. Kane's still holding on to second. Ryan Newman right behind him, though. Newman's got the fastest car in the field. Maybe not right now. It might be Johnson. Knowing that Newman's got older tires and Jimmy's in the lead with fresher tires. A full 140 lap fresher tires. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Johnson caught that lap car in a really bad spot. R6 is really confident on Joey Logano winning this weekend. He's won there before. I think his last win there and only win there was in 2015. If I remember correctly. Fuel mileage too. Harvick was right on him. He's trying to move him out of the way, but he ran out of gas, so it didn't really matter. I mean, Logano is a good pick this weekend. It's gonna be tough to beat Chase Elliott, though, man. Especially at Watkins Glen, like of all road courses, Watkins Glen is Chase Elliott's playground. Between Elliott and Truex. Most recently, it's been Elliott. Patrick thinks we're going to have a new winner at the Glen this weekend. It is a road course. I mean, that is possible. Ross Chastain's looked really good on the road courses this year. Other drivers without a win who have looked good on road courses. Chase Briscoe. I'd be shocked if it wasn't one of those two, though, if we did get a new winner. Maybe Denny Hamlin. Because he's performed pretty well on the road courses, too, this season. If it's not one of those three, I'd be shocked. Yeah, Kyle Busch will have a good run, too. Larson's looked strong on the road courses. The only other road course we've ran this season where Larson has actually had laps on, not with the same configuration, but at least most of the turns would have been Sonoma, and he won that race. Maybe that extra, lap, those extra laps he would have at Watkins Glen versus a track like, Indy Road Course or Road America, stuff like that. Maybe that road course talent isn't really paying off for him because he needs a lot of laps at a specific road course before he can run well. Well, we'll see. But then again, though, with that being said, he still ran top 5 for most of the day at Road America and Coda. Finished second at Coda, in fact. I'm shocked Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace, and Brendan Gaughan have not pit yet. Those are the 4 drivers that stayed out of the pits during that first caution of the race at lap 140. Had about 4 caution laps that probably, 3 to 4 caution laps that probably helped save a little bit of time, but Patrick's got money on Denny Hamlin. There you go. Are you saying of those 3 drivers I named that you would probably have the most faith in Denny? I mean, we're so far into the season. I'm not even confident that Harvick and Hamlin are going to win a race this season. Like, even 8 to 10 races ago, I would have thought, like, oh, there's a lot of season left. They'll easily get a win, but I would have thought they would have gotten one by now. I guess Tyler Reddick's ran well the road courses too this season. We're looking at possible new winner. So the 171 car will be making his way back onto the racetrack here pretty shortly. He was the driver that blew an engine in this race. I believe he's the only driver who blew an engine. The two drivers involved in the crash on lap 140 was Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd. Martin got a little loose off turn 2 and had gotten into the wall, kind of pitching it back across the racetrack, and Ricky Rudd slammed into his right side. Tony Stewart, one of the drivers on fresher tires, is up in the 4th position right behind Casey Kane and Ryan Newman. He could be the next challenger for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. We haven't seen Stewart lead a lap yet, nor really contend for the lead until right now, but he is within a second of the race lead. I'm almost starting to think that those Dodges had pit, but their pit boxes were on the back straightaway, and the game cycled them out ahead of us because it is lap 186 and they still have not pitted. If they don't pit within the next 10 to 15 laps, and that's a 200 lap run, there's no way they can go that far. That's being generous. With like 10 to 15 laps, if they don't pit, I'm thinking they pitted on the back straightaway. So when our crew chief said that they didn't pit, they actually did. Because they definitely didn't duck onto pit road when we did. If that's the case, Johnson's doing a really great job holding on to the lead, but Casey Kane was the guy in second the whole time and the guy he had to pass for the race lead. Now Ryan Newman's back to second place. He's got the fastest car in the field, and he is really challenging Johnson off turn 4, and there isn't really any heavy lap traffic at all in front of Jimmy Johnson. Kane trying to hold on for third now. Tony Stewart all over his back bumper. Hamlin doesn't get a win before the playoffs. He's going to get knocked out. So you think we're going to get 4 more winners this season is what you're saying? I don't know, man. Because, what, we've got 13 different winners right now, or do we have 14? No, we've got 13. Yeah, 13 different winners. We'd literally have to get 4 winners in the next 4 races. And it'd technically be 6 new winners in the last 6 races of the regular season, considering that Almirola and Kurt Busch won the last 2 races. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening. I can see us getting a couple more winners. I guess, no, we would need 3. My bad. We would need 3 in the next 4 races to get 16. I don't see it happening at Michigan. Well, unless it's Kevin Harvick. Harvick's been a beast at Michigan the last handful of years. He's won there 3 times. 4 times, actually. 4 times in the last couple seasons because he won both races last year. Because they ran a doubleheader, and then he won the summer race in 2019 and 2018. So he's won literally 4 straight August races at Michigan. It's just crazy. I think the Dodgers hit pit road. They just pitted on the back straightaway. Got to. There's no way they can go 200 laps on fuel at Bristol. That's just ridiculous. Like, we were under green, only going to go about 165, 170. There's no way they have a fuel tank that can make it an extra 25 to 30 laps. So now the real question is it a one-stop race to the finish? And honestly, the way that caution came out, I'd almost like to think it isn't. We still got about 300 laps to go. And now we got another caution, lap 199, our second caution of the race. So we went caution free for the first 140 laps, and then we've had 2 in the last 60 laps. Dale Jarrett goes for a spin in turns 1 and 2. Not sure how it started, but he ended up T-boning the outside wall all by himself. He was the only car collected. Everybody checked up and missed him from behind. So Johnson's going to stay out of the pits here. Ooh, and it sounds like everybody else pitted. So Jimmy Johnson stays out on about 60 lap older tires. The rest of the leaders come in. Lap cars on the inside of the lead. Lap cars for the restart. Johnson forcing his way back to the inside. Had to make that move quick. And did. Thought it was hard to hold off Newman before. Now Newman's got fresher tires. That lap car, the 141 right in front of Jimmy Johnson, is not going to help the airflow. And Jimmy cannot get around him. And that could be an opportunity for Ryan Newman to maybe pounce and get to the race lead. Jimmy's pushing really hard right now. He wants to get around the 141 as quick as he can. Got to do it cleanly, too, because if he gets into him, it might allow Newman to make a possible run. Johnson got the door shut on him there. Now he drives it deep underneath him off the exit of turn 2 into turn 3 underneath the 141. Jimmy Johnson clears him. Lap car now between the top 2. And Johnson's got the clean air. That'll help him with a little bit older tires. Well, if we get another caution, Jimmy's definitely going to pit. Because now he's scheduled to pit about 60 laps before everybody else. He could still go close to another 100 laps on fuel, but knowing that first run went 140 laps, we could actually go that far on a green flag run. If we get a caution after Jimmy pits, he's going to get trapped a couple laps down. It's just so hard to play the strategy game, these full races, especially without any stages. I got a couple people saying Logano's going to win this weekend. One little mistake by Johnson, Newman's going to capitalize and get to the lead. Newman with clean air. Pulled away earlier. Clean air, fresher tires. He's definitely going to pull away from Johnson, you'd have to assume. Jimmy just needs to hit his marks and I guess hope for the best. Well, Casey Kane's still holding on into third place right now. Stewart never got around him before the caution. Kane stays in front of Stewart on the restart. Rookie having a great showing. The Dodgers as a whole have been fast today, though. You got Newman and Kane in the top 5. Rusty Wallace has been in the top 5 for most of the day. Brendan Gaughan was in the top 5 very early in the race. Still in the top 10. It's 4 Dodges. 2 of them have led laps of Casey Kane and Ryan Newman as well. Stewart finally got around Casey Kane through turns 1 and 2. Kane almost crossed him back over again. Johnson kind of clipped the apron a little bit, and that pushed him a little wide off of turn 4. Holds on to the race lead. Almost halfway home already. 2 cautions so far tonight. Food City 500. Newman might get underneath Johnson. Drove it deep into turns 1 and 2. He's going to clear him. Jimmy. I think he barely got into the wall, and with that, he couldn't get back down to the bottom. Tony Stewart's underneath him now, and Johnson's trying to battle Stewart. And Stewart's got a huge head of steam, clears Jimmy, and now he's on the back bumper of Ryan Newman, and Tony Stewart wants his first lead of the night. Oh, Newman with a block into turn 3. They keep battling, and it'll at least keep Jimmy Johnson in the hunt. Stewart underneath Newman finally. Oh, got a huge push from Jimmy Johnson. They both clear Newman. That looked like a super speedway move. Jimmy didn't mean to get into Stewart, but it just launched him ahead of Newman, and somehow Johnson was still able to keep the momentum and get around Ryan as well. So Tony Stewart's going to lead his first laps of the race. Johnson halfway through his fuel run. Now he dives underneath Stewart. And Jimmy Johnson back in the lead off turn 2. Stewart quickly closed to the back bumper once again. That 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Just able to drive it in so much deeper, getting into the corner. Johnson still leads the lap on the outside of the racetrack. Falls in line behind Stewart. Somehow got down in front of Ryan Newman, and a great crossover move by Jimmy Johnson, not letting Stewart go. Johnson never officially lost the lead because Tony Stewart did not lead that last lap. Johnson had him by a nose. Oh, Johnson in the wall off too. Starting to overdrive the car just a little bit. It's over halfway through his tire run. These guys are on fresher tires, so he's having to push that much harder just to keep battling with them. He's got to make sure he doesn't force himself into a major mistake. Just ran a very clean race for the most part. About as clean as he can get for Bristol. Newman to the inside of Stewart off turn 4. He'll have the dive into 1. And Ryan Newman should clear him, and does. Rocket Man back to second place. Johnson trying to protect the bottom. Washed up a little bit off the exit of turn 4. He's doing about as good of a job as he can, all things considered. Stewart was going to get back underneath Newman. Newman missed the bottom a little bit getting into turn 1. Oh, Newman kind of clipped the apron and shoved up the track like Johnson did a handful of laps ago. Again, Stewart could not capitalize and get underneath him for second. Newman down low. Johnson got the run off the high side off turn 4. Almost cut him off into turn 1. Close to making contact. Johnson got a little loose off turn 2 and Newman to the lead. Stewart to second. Johnson going to let him go so he can fall in line behind Stewart, not get freight train and lose an extra spot there to Casey Kane as well. Lap traffic about to be in the picture once again. With a big block getting into 3 on Tony Stewart. Stewart going to maybe put the bumper to Ryan Newman, because he is all over him right now. Tony's going to make that move. He gets underneath Ryan Newman. Through turns 1 and 2, he is clear. Tony Stewart back to the lead once again. Johnson follows Stewart to get to second. Just really gets shuffled out of line. Once you get to the outside, you're almost guaranteed to lose more than one position. Especially nose to tail like the leaders are right now. Johnson having a much harder time trying to keep up with Stewart in lap traffic. Tony was the first driver to get to the lead when they got to the lap cars. Right before that, Newman got around Johnson, and now Johnson going to pick Tony Stewart behind Kyle Petty in the 45. There's one way for Jimmy to make the pass. Couple lap cars now between the top two. Going to get around Scott Wimmer. 3 lap cars now between Johnson and Stewart. About a half a second difference as well. Johnson way up the track in 1 and 2. Stewart back to within about 2 to 2.5 car lengths into turn 3. Cross the lines in the air. We're halfway home. 250 laps complete. Another 250 to go. The Bristol Motor Speedway here this evening, for the Food City 500. Stewart all over the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson. Newman was up there. He's lost a little bit in the midst of lap traffic on the leaders. Casey Kane in 4th place. He was right up there with the leaders as well and has led a few laps today. But he also, since getting in lap traffic, has lost touch from Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. Stewart at this point in NASCAR, a one-time champ in the 2002 season. So you have a former champion trying to chase down a driver searching for his first championship. High Banks, the Bristol Motor Speedway. Oh, Stewart drove it in extremely deep into turns 3 and 4. Gets around him. Johnson lets him go and just ducks in line behind him into 1. He didn't want to risk that lap car getting in between him and Stewart by just following Stewart's line into the corner. Drive off turn 2, but not good enough to get underneath Stewart. Stewart underneath Craven. Fastest lap of the day so far for Johnson's a 15.162. In the midst of lap traffic, that last lap was a 15.487. Just past halfway through the race and over halfway through the second tire stint for Jimmy Johnson as well. Johnson into the 177 as he overdrives turn 1. That was unfortunate. He lost a little bit of time. There's 5 lap cars directly in line of Stewart, though, so Johnson should catch him back in a couple laps. And they're all 2x2 in front of Tony Stewart as well. He's going to have nowhere to go. Stewart trying to get underneath the 10 of Scott Riggs. 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. Underneath the lap cars. Stewart barely cleared Riggs. Now he's on the outside of Johnson. Contact with the lap cars further up ahead. Doesn't matter, though, because Jimmy Johnson had enough clearance, and he clears Tony Stewart on turn 4. Another lead change. Gotta love Bristol. This is just good old-fashioned short track racing. Pick and find your way through the lap traffic. Everything around the bottom of the racetrack. High group just not relevant at this year in Bristol. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. Any guesses for the Music City Grand Prix this weekend? You know, I'm going to go with the experience factor. Experience, I feel like, always pans in new races, especially, well, just in motorsports in general. Doesn't matter really what motorsport it is, so I've got to go Scott Dixon this weekend. I think Scott Dixon's going to win the first ever Music City Grand Prix, or at least the first ever Nashville street course race in IndyCar. We're taking fuel left for Jimmy Johnson. He was hoping for a caution before he has to hit pit road, and he's probably got to pit right around lap 300. She is definitely not going to be able to make it on one more stop to the finish. I think if we could have actually ran green all the way through the first fuel run, it would have been at least a lot closer to making it on fuel on 2 stops today, but everybody pitted at that caution lap 140, pretty much submitting themselves into making this a 3-stop race from that point. Johnson did not pit during the last caution. Jimmy trying to go for that second win of the season. He has not won since Rockingham. I guess Rockingham, although it's considered an intermediate, it does race like a short track, just barely over a mile in length. And he did win that race. Darlington about a mile and a third in length. Somewhat races like a short track as well. Johnson led the most laps. Was leading coming to the white flag. Spun out, unfortunately, and finished 8th. So he has ran well on these types of tracks this year. This is the first traditional short track, though, half mile in length. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Go Penske. Joseph Newgarden. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream, by the way. Go Jimmy Indy. There's Jeff Green up there putting the bumper to somebody. Can't tell who is on the outside of him currently. Well, next thing Johnson's got to hope for is we stay green long enough if we don't get a caution before he has to pit, that we get a caution after everybody pits. The rest of the field isn't going to pit till about 60 laps after Jimmy, so it's going to be a long wait. Though 60 laps at Bristol's really only 15 minutes, but Still, it's gonna feel like a long 15 minutes, hoping that it stays green. Playing frisbee with the dog. Watch the street. There you go. Sounds like you're having a fun time. We have 14 people watching. Didn't even realize that. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Like, share, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Got 14 watching, 7 likes right now. Hit that like button. Help the algorithm. Help me out. Daily NASCAR content. Realistic commentary for NASCAR video games. The real race is on the weekend. We'll get back into that at Watkins Glen on Sunday for the Cup race. We'll have a live leaderboard. Do my best commentary. All the hopes of jump-starting, of course, my journey into getting into the commentating booth in the sport of NASCAR. I think the 149 car was who Jeff Green tried to get around putting the bumper to a little bit ago, and 149 found his way back around the 43, or he just held on. Terry Labonte trying to put the bumper to the 0-1 of Joe Nemechek back there. Stewart got a great drive off of turn 4, almost got underneath Jimmy Johnson. Johnson shuts the door again in 1 and 2. Lionette, welcome to the stream. Two-car race for the lead right now between Johnson and Stewart. Johnson will have to pit before Stewart. About 60 laps. I'd expect right around lap 300. Not quite to an eighth of a tank of fuel yet. This one that's going to say it's very low, and then it'll say fuel is almost empty. And you'll usually get 3 to 5 laps from there before having to pit. Might be more laps considering this is a half mile, but you see, there it is, very low. So now he's an eighth. He's only got an eighth of a tank left. So laps the 149 car, keeping Stewart tucked in line behind Johnson. Ah, your phone died, gotcha. Well, welcome, Oni. Johnson underneath Jeff Green. Green gives him the room now that he got underneath him. Green almost got the wall off turn 2. Johnson drives it deep and clears him into turn 3. Oh, and Green shuts the door on Tony Stewart, holding him up. Stewart's been really patient the last 20 to 30 laps. I think it's knowing that Johnson's going to have to pit soon anyway. Being on a little bit different strategy. Johnson's just going to have to hope and pray it stays green. He's going to need a caution at some point to get back on the same strategy, but he's going to need it to stay green for at least another probably 70 to 80 laps. From now, let everybody cycle through. The most he can go is about 170 laps on fuel. Maybe a couple more laps if we get a caution, but if we get another caution, he's going to pit, without a doubt. We have had 2 cautions so far tonight, both in the first 200 laps of the race. Nearly another 100-lap green flag run. So it'll be the second one of that length already today. We went 140 laps green to start the race. Caution lap 140 for Mark Martin spinning. Also collected in the accident was Ricky Rudd. And Dale Jarrett went for a spin in the same spot off of turn 2, all by himself, just like with Mark Martin. Nobody got into Jarrett. All 3 cars still in the race, as far as we know. That second caution for Jared spinning came out at lap 199. Green at lap 303. So there it is. Fuel tank almost empty for Jimmy Johnson. He'll go a few more laps, bring it into the pits. Try to lead as many as he can right here and give that lead up to Tony Stewart. Jimmy Johnson's pit stop, or pit box, I should say, is on the front straightaway. We saw that during the pit stops under yellow earlier in the race. That was the only other stop Johnson had made. Somebody else has blown their engine, is on pit road right now. No caution for it, though. We stay green. Jake from State Farm, welcome to the stream. 199 laps to go as Johnson leads this lap at the line once again. Lap 302 of 500 in the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Johnson going to stay out one more lap. He's going to pit at lap 303. So it'll be 166 laps roughly on this full tank of fuel. Johnson will be coming into the pits this time. 70 miles per hour is the speed limit for every track in this NASCAR EA Sports video game, so very easy to get to pit road with that. No adjustments, full tank of fuel. Damage will be repaired for the 48. Doesn't have a lot of it, though. And we'll be seeing green flag pit stop. Gonna go a lap or two down right here as well. Pretty clean stop on the right sides. And again, Tony Stewart is in the lead. Jimmy Johnson shown one lap down. Surprised he didn't lose 2 laps. That was a pretty quick pit stop for the 48 crew. And now he's just got to hope he's going to cycle back to the lead if we stay green. Now, he does have about 100 lap fresher tires. Almost exactly 100 lap fresher tires than everybody else. He's going to be 20 to 25 laps short on fuel to the end of the race. So we're going to need a caution at some point, but again, everybody's going to have to cycle through first. Clean stop indeed, Dark Crypto. Finally caught somebody for position. That would be the 141 car for right now. Johnson definitely knows he's got to go. Fresher tires right now. It's the point at which he needs to make up as much time as possible. I don't think Kurt Busch has led any laps today. He was as high as second in the first 100 laps, and we haven't really seen him in the top 5 since that first caution earlier in the race. Boy, Johnson really drove it deep into turn 1, trying to get underneath Kurt. Kurt's still on the lead lap, so that was not for position either. A bit of contact with Bobby Labonte. We might even be seeing some pit stops before that 60 to 65 lap mark from after Johnson pitted, because that pit window will open in about 20 laps. It'd be risky. It's a short pit, but again, if we cycle all the way through, it could gain quite a bit of time. Again, Johnson should cycle back to the lead if we cycle through. We're already nearing our longest green flag run of the race. Not quite there yet. I've got about another 20-25 laps to get to that point. Johnson's still a lap and a half total behind, so an extra half a lap behind Stewart. A lot of lap cars in between there. I don't think he's going to catch him before Tony's going to have to pit. Oh, man, Jimmy almost got the wall off, too. He had to lift quite a bit off the exit of the corner. It's a good thing that lap car didn't run him over from behind. It's really hard getting into the corner, trying to get around him, and then he got back into the gas too soon in return. 10 likes right now. Thanks for everybody. Again, hitting that like button so far. Do so if you haven't already. Not sure how many cars are on the lead lap either. Who would be in the free pass position right now, one lap down? Like donuts in NASCAR, welcome to the stream. Thought Nemechek was going to crowd Johnson a little too much there. That was a pass for position for Jimmy as well. For 14th, got Matt Kenseth in the 17 car just up ahead of him. Robbie Gordon, our Chevy driver in the 31, right up there as well. Robbie's already a couple laps down, I believe. So what, 100 lap pressure tires. At least making a difference in the lap times currently between Johnson and the race leaders. Walter trying to get around Jeff Burt right now. He's starting to crowd Jimmy Johnson, and Johnson cannot get underneath the 15 of Walter. Yeah, we did run the online lobbies for a little over an hour last night. Started about a quarter until 9, got done about a quarter after 10, roughly. 10 after 10. Had some fun. Actually won 2 races. Talladega was probably the cleanest online race I've ever had. Made a couple of great moves for the lead. Made a nice block on the last lap, a clean one to hold on. So they had a huge run on the outside. I thought they were going to train around me, and I just moved up just a hair getting into 3 on the last lap and then back down to the bottom quickly. And made it look easy. Then we got a win in the last race we ran last night at Texas also. Never finished outside the top 5 in all 6 races last night either. We had anywhere between really 10 to 12, 13 people every race. So proud of myself. Probably the best showing I've had personally online. We only finished outside the top 3 once, and that was when we finished 5th. I forget what race it was. Darlington, was it? No, it wasn't. No, we didn't run Darlington. It was Dover. Dover, we finished 5th. It was really the only race that was a wreck fest, too. Every other race was pretty clean for the most part. Even Bristol was clean. We had a caution late, but it was pretty clean. Watkins Glen, we had that wreck on lap 1, turn 1, but it never transpired beyond that. That was it. Smithfield CEO, welcome to the stream. That's pretty funny. Got some green flag pit stops going on right now. Some of these drivers trying to short pit. Merge their way back onto the racetrack. Jimmy Johnson's unlapped himself. Tony Stewart was one of the drivers that came into the pits. As well as Ryan Newman leaving Casey Kane as the new race leader. 3 wide, a little contact with Rusty Wallace in turns 1 and 2. Johnson's back inside the top 10. Johnson might even consider pitting with these guys very soon here, knowing that he can make it on field to the end now. Let's get that last pit stop done and over with. He's going to wait for absolutely everybody to pit first once he cycles back to the lead, and then he'll likely end up hitting pit road. Because the longer Johnson stays out, too, hoping for a caution, they're just going to keep running him down because now they're going to have about 60 lap fresher tires than Jimmy. I guess about 45 right now. Never mind, Stewart's leading. I guess Casey Kane just got around him cleanly. Tony has not pit yet. Maybe Newman's still up there as well, and Casey just found his way around both of them. Caution in the middle of green flag stops. Crash involving Mark Martin and another one of those generated drivers in turn 2. I mean, it's hard to tell what happened there. It just looked like the generated driver on the outside was trying to come to pit road. Martin was already there trying to make it into the pits as well, and he just kept coming down into him and spun himself out. So that's our 3rd caution of the race in the middle of green flag pit stops. And that is going to trap some guys a lap down. And that is what we talked about earlier about pitting under green at Bristol and how risky it is. And luckily for Jimmy Johnson, he unlapped himself about 5 to 10 laps before that with those 100-lap fresher tires. Now he can pit for the final time today. And we'll see if that'll be the final caution of the race. Our longest green flag run at just over 140 laps. We've had 2 green flag runs 140-plus laps now. And again, that's our 3rd yellow. It's going to be as far back as Johnson's been on a restart so far today, but at least he's back on the lead lap, and just like that, he's got a shot to win it. Yeah, there is a lot of drivers trapped a lap down because of that, though. Jimmy Johnson's going to be in the top 5. Green flag back in the air at Bristol. Only 4 cars on the lead lap due to that caution. That is insane. And Johnson couldn't have had a more better timing yellow. Matt Kenseth currently leads for the first time here today. Just under 150 laps to go on the restart. Johnson underneath Rusty Wallace for second. He's had a fast car. He's been in the top 5 most of the day. Newman trying to get back on the lead lap. Johnson underneath him. Casey Kane is on the lead lap for a brief moment. Kenseth trying to get around him. Johnson underneath Kenseth off turn 4 for the lead. Kenseth drives into the side of Jimmy Johnson and holds on to the lead. He was down there the entire front straightaway. Had to have thought that Kenseth knew he was there. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in tonight, Michael. Kenseth has lapped Kane. Another drive off turn 2 this time. And again, Johnson underneath Matt Kenseth slides up the track clear in turns 1 and 2. Johnson battles back to the lead at lap 358. Casey Kane in the free pass position if we do get another yellow. Trying to dive back underneath Kenseth, and he gets there. Trying to unlap himself so he can restart with the leaders, especially knowing there are only 4 on the lead lap right now. That'd be big. Kenseth trying to cross Kane back over. Johnson pulling away a little bit. A lot of those faster cars are lap down. Newman probably has the fastest car in the field's a lap down. Tony Stewart led some laps. He's a lap down. Casey Kane, as you're seeing right there, in 5th, but he's a lap down. Of the guys that were running in the top 5 earlier, Rusty Wallace and Jimmy Johnson, the only one of those guys on the lead lap. Johnson's been in the top 3 pretty much every lap since about lap 70 on, and Wallace really hasn't been quite that high in the running order too often today, except for on restarts. He has been right around 4 through 6 most of the race. He's kind of been that second tier as far as how his day's gone for speed. Newman's running down Casey Kane. Now, if you get the free pass with these single file restarts and the lap cars lining up to the inside of the lead lap cars, all you have to do is restart the tail end of the longest line. So if there are more lap cars than lead lap cars, then you would obviously restart the inside behind all the lead lap or all the lap cars. And if there are more cars that are on the lead lap than what there is a lap down, then you would line up on the outside lane then. It's just the tail end of the longest line. These aren't traditional double file restarts like we've seen over the last decade in NASCAR. Kenseth's trying to hold on about as strong as he possibly can with Johnson. He fell about 5 to 6 tenths of a second off the lead. He's ran him down within 3 to 4 tenths of a second off the lead once again. Johnson's got a lot of clean air in front of him for the moment, though. It's going to be a little bit before he catches lap traffic. I'm sure we're not done with the lap traffic today. Remember, Kenseth just won a Busch Series race at California last weekend on the channel, trying to go for a cup win here today at Bristol. The same video game. Put a lot of pressure on Johnson that time through 1 and 2. He's really trying. Kenseth is willing that race car. Remember, he's outside the top 15 very early in the race. He did not qualify well. Like Johnson, who just didn't qualify at all. That's why he started at the rear. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the final time today over the next dozen laps. As Matt Kenseth is trying to look for the race lead. About 125 laps to go at Bristol. 4 laps in a minute here. This final 100 laps only going to be about 25 minutes or so. We're realistically just over a half hour away from the end of the race. So it is definitely getting to crunch time. You know, we have had 3 cautions today, but they've been after long green flag runs of 60 or more laps. You'd have to assume that this could be the final restart of the race. Kevin Harvick's on the lead lap back there in 3rd place, but he's got the lap cars of Casey Kane and Ryan Newman in between him. And the top 2 of Kenseth and Johnson. Talking about like a compilation video, Oni, or I didn't plan on it really. I might do like a best of, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It wouldn't be just for the career mode though. It'd be like the entire NASCAR Heat 5 video game. All the great moments we've had on the channel with it. I think we only saw Jimmy Johnson get the bumper once this entire race, and it was actually very early in the race when everything was jammed together and he was in the middle of the pack. Kenseth just kind of sitting behind him right now. I think Johnson's just got too good of a race car that he's not going to get around him in clean air. His best chance to get around him is going to be in lap traffic, so he's just kind of being patient, waiting for him to get there. Kevin Harvick has gotten around both Casey Kane and Ryan Newman in 3rd place. He is hunting down the race leaders, trying to turn it on, and maybe he could battle for the race win. And Harvick could be going for back-to-back wins. We have not seen a repeat winner in the first 5 races this year, and 2 of the drivers in the top 3 have already won this year, Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick. Johnson with a win at Rockingham, Harvick with that win in the last race at Darlington. Well, last lap passed nonetheless. And remember, it was Johnson who had beat Harvick in that fuel mileage race at Rockingham at the start of the season as well. Harvick ran out of fuel on the final lap. Might come down to those 2 again today. I don't think it's coming out in September, though. I'd like to think it is, but they haven't even had a release date for it yet. Usually, games have a release date like 2 months in advance of the actual game, and we haven't even seen gameplay of it yet. We haven't seen gameplay. We haven't seen a release date yet, which tells me that we're probably closer to a 60-day period or so before the game comes out. That would lead us into October. People keep saying it's coming out in September, but they haven't actually said it's coming out. Like, they haven't actually said that there's going to be or they haven't announced the release date yet, so I don't know where people are getting this information that it's coming out in September. I assumed it would come out in September just because that's when the other NASCAR Heat games came out, except for Heat 5. That was the only one that never came out in September. It came out in July last year. Early release. Kevin Harvick got around Kenseth quickly for a second. Kenseth's starting to lose a little bit of ground. Harvick's in the mix. I think Dale Jr. is a lap down. He's in the free pass position. Harvick doesn't want to wait for the lap traffic like Kenseth was. Getting closer to it. Nearing 100 laps to go. Everybody's good on fuel to the end. Everybody pitted during that last yellow who did not pit under green. Like the crew chief's reaction there. Lap 400, it's a long race. Yeah, no kidding. 500 laps at Bristol. 400 complete, 100 to go. Crunch time under the last half hour. Less than a half hour, really, to the checkered flag. Johnson, Harvick, 1-2. We've seen a lot of different drivers really compete for the win today. It looked like Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, Brian Newman there for a while, then Kenseth even for a little bit on the restart. Now Kevin Harvick's challenging. Kurt Busch very, very early in the race was challenging as well. When Newman was leading in the first 100 laps, he was right there behind him in lap traffic. So definitely a lot of comers and goers up and through the pack. Newman got back around Dale Jr. to get into the free pass position once again, and he's starting to hunt down both the 29 and the 48. But if he can get back on the lead lap and get a caution, he's got the fastest car in the field. Contact 133 pinched Johnson down on turn 4. Jimmy Johnson just clinched the most laps led that last time at the start-finish line, so he'll get 10 bonus points today. Guess there was that bright side with going off strategy. He was able to lead an extra 60, 65 laps. Just by staying out of the pits after that second caution. But he got an absolute perfectly timing third caution of the day that helped put him in the situation, got him back into it. What seems to go into winning a lot of these NASCAR races is just you have to have the car, the driver, and the luck. All has to go in. Had the car. We know Jimmy Johnson's a great driver. And he had the luck with that timing, good timing third yellow. After going off strategy on the second caution, that he got back into this one. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream, by the way. I didn't realize that was you that commented that. Thought that was enough of a mistake getting into turn 3 for Johnson that Harvick was going to get to the lead. I guess he wasn't close enough getting into the corner that he couldn't get underneath Johnson. He's too busy looking out of his rear view at Ryan Newman right now, trying to keep him behind him, hold him a lap down. His last car, these leaders want to have get back on the lead lap. Pretty heavy lap traffic now in front of the 48 of Johnson. Got less than 90 laps to go. The car blowing up on the racetrack down on the apron. That's Elliott Sadler in the 38. Tough day for Robert Yates Racing. We saw Dale Jarrett bring out the second caution for a spin early in the race, and in the first half of the race at least. And now Elliott Sadler is going to DNF with an engine failure, and we have a caution. Trouble off turn 4. Pretty big crash. In the final 100 laps, we get our fourth. Yeah, wow, they're stacking up big time. Oh, up and over. One car on his lid, the 147, I believe, of Doug Ferguson, piled into the back of Joe Nemechek. And just a huge freight train of cars piling in, about a dozen cars involved. Ferguson on his lid. Johnson's going to pit from the lead. He's clinched the most laps led. We know we've only got 5 cars on the lead lap now, with the free pass going to Ryan Newman, I believe. No adjustments on the 48 crew, but he will have fresher tires. So a big crash bringing out our fourth caution of the day off turn 4. The first accident we've seen off 4. The other 3 cautions were in turn 2. And Doug Ferguson on his lid at Bristol. Who would have thought we would have saw a flip at Bristol Motor Speedway? My goodness. Only in these older NASCAR EA games. He just kind of climbed over the rear of the 0-1 of Nemechek, really. And Kevin Harvick's going to have the lead for the restart. Looks like Brian Vickers is back on the lead lap up here. Green flag back in the air. Ooh, somebody did not take off well on the restart. Vickers spun his tires. His teammate Jimmy Johnson got into the back of him. A lot of lap cars up here as well, but Johnson's got the freshest tires by about 40 to 50 laps. Drove around Vickers. Got around Stewart for position. Underneath Jeff Gordon, a little contact with his teammate Gordon. Let Jeff go and let him back onto the inside now in front of him in 3 and 4. The apology from Johnson, I guess. Letting Gordon keep the spot. Rusty Wallace to the lead on the restart. Harvick stuck on the outside of the lap cars. He never got down to the bottom like Rusty Wallace was able to. Black Ace, welcome to the stream. Who's the pretty lady? I have no clue who you're talking about. Is there side conversation going on in the chat I missed? Ooh, Gordon putting the bumper to Casey Mears. Johnson following his teammate. Now Gordon moves up the track just a little bit. He is a lap down. He wants to get into the free pass spot if he can. And Ryan Newman is back on the lead lap, but he's at the tail end of the longest line. He's going to need another caution to get back into this. Johnson made a tiny mistake off turn 2, getting around another lap car, Dale Jr. Rusty Wallace leads at Bristol, a place he's won many times in his NASCAR Nextel Cup Series career, and now he's trying to do it again here in this one. And caution with less than 90 laps to go in this race, where we saw fantasy driver Doug Ferguson go on his lid after a stack up off turn 4, getting into the back and climbing over the rear of the 0-1 of Joe Nemechek, who spun off turn 4, and about a dozen cars piled into it from behind. Wasn't too far in front of the leaders, but they were able to check up well behind it. Harvick's starting to climb his way forward again. He gets underneath Wallace. Kenseth is actually the leader. And how about Casey Kane back to second place? Harvick to second, and Harvick might charge underneath Kenseth for the lead. He's there. Side by side for the race lead. Johnson drives it deep off turn 4. He wants to follow Harvick through there. Kevin Harvick to the lead. Johnson to second. Johnson has fresher tires too. .70 laps to go at the line. Johnson gets the drive into turn 1 underneath Kevin Harvick. Clear off turn 2. 48 back to the point. Harvick almost crossed Johnson back over. Johnson blocks him into turn 1. I think Johnson was the only lead lap car that pitted during that last caution. A lot of the cars that were involved in that last massive accident on turn 4 were a lap down. I don't think any lead lap cars were collected. Dockside's the best track, hands down. There you go. Yeah, we'll have fun at those fantasy tracks on the custom schedule season, that's for sure. I don't think anything gets more fun than Bristol Motor Speedway, though. We've had a great race today. Good short track racing. We've seen everything. We've seen a car on its lid at Bristol, of all things. This race has literally had everything. Now that we're in the final 70 laps, we'll see if Jimmy Johnson can seal the deal. He's already clinched the most laps led. The guy running behind him is the winner of the last race. Harvick trying to go back-to-back. Of course, we're running as Kevin Harvick in the Busch Series. Once we get into lap traffic, that is really going to be the difference maker and what might give Harvick a chance, because with him on older tires, I don't see him getting around Jimmy Johnson unless he gets help from lap traffic. Final 100 laps in a NASCAR EA Sports video game. You know everybody's going to be fighting aggressively to the end. Pinching people off and blocking people. I remember the racetrack, but I have not raced, even in like I haven't touched the career mode in a while in this game. I'm in the Busch Series still, so I haven't really ran too many of those like one-on-one showdown races or whatever, so I haven't ran too many of the tracks recently, but from what I remember, though, I always liked the Devil's Canyon. That was always my favorite track when I was a kid, at least. Of the fantasy tracks, that was probably my favorite road course. Either that one or Speedway Boulevard were my two favorites. Perfect backdrop with the sunset. Yeah, it's pretty dark on the PS2, especially the graphics. But yeah, it does have a good sunset. There's a lot of great fantasy road courses, though, really. All of them are great in that game. This game. Harvick's the kind of guy that you would think would use the bumper if it came down to it. His nickname is the Closer, after all. These two have had a pretty good finish before in California back in 2011. I guess I was ahead of time versus what we are seeing here. Johnson goes up the track a little bit. Harvick trying to get underneath him. Johnson got the drive off 4, stays in front. Harvick just doesn't have the tires to really drive the car in as deep into the corners to get underneath Johnson, even if he does leave the door open. He's going to have to wait until lap traffic becomes a factor and just hope he can catch him in the right spot. Johnson has to struggle maybe a lap or two for him to make the move and get underneath him. It's a great call by Johnson pitting under that last caution, knowing he had about 80 laps to get back to the lead and only took him about 10. Granted, there was only 7 cars on the lead lap, so that helped. Yeah, a lot of drivers are lapped down because of a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops with about 150 laps to go. Again, we've had 4 cautions total. 2 in the first 200 laps. Now we've had 2 of them in about the last 50 to 100 laps ran. About 100. Johnson up the track again. That time Harvick got to the inside. Little contact off turn 4. And Harvick's clear off 2. Johnson with the crossover. It gets back around him. Harvick just can't hold on. I think he actually did lead that last lap before Johnson took the lead back again. So a couple of lead changes, but there was no chance Harvick was going to drive away with those older tires, and Johnson just crossed him over with ease. 50 laps to go. Got to be a big confidence booster for Harvick, though, that he's just keeping this much pressure on Johnson even without the lap traffic on these older tires. About 40 to 50 lap older tires. Not factoring in those caution laps. Harvick never really challenged until that second to last restart when he had the lead briefly. He's only really challenged in the final 150 laps of the race. The final laps are the most important. He's been scratching and clawing all day long to get himself in this position. He has led some laps, to at least get 5 bonus points already if he can't get back around Johnson to win this race. I always like doing the chase for the cup because you can actually put whatever drivers you wanted in the chase. Like, you can create your own playoffs in NASCAR Heat 5, but you can't actually put the drivers you want in the playoffs in there. Like, if you wanted to throw, like, all the backmarker drivers in there, you could. If you want to throw all your favorite drivers in there, you can. I pretty much did everything with this game, though. Fight to the top, season mode, those speed zone challenges, the dodge challenges on here. I always liked unlocking the thunder plate, so I tried to get all the points I could. All the skill points I could from every challenge, every race. Lap traffic with 40 laps to go. First lap car of this current run just got past that would have been the 133. It took about 20 laps to get to the lap traffic this time. Johnson on the fresher tires probably helped him get to that point a little bit quicker. It is really just a 2-horse race right now between Johnson and Harvick. So there is enough laps somebody else could close if lap traffic gets pretty intense. Harvick drove it in really deep. He had about half his car down on the black on the apron getting into turn 1 that time. Desperately trying to get to the inside of the 48. Johnson not quite close enough behind a lap car that Harvick could use him as a pick right now. Now Harvick got a little tight getting into 1 that time, and Johnson gapped him a tiny bit. Harvick is still there. Johnson underneath the 177 into turn 1. Passes him cleanly through turns 1 and 2. Harvick's got to do the same. Johnson now quickly underneath Mark Martin through turns 3 and 4. Martin's had a rough day. He's been involved in not 1 but 2 cautions in this race. Harvick Couldn't quite get underneath Mark through 1 and 2 that time. Now we'll have to do it in 3 and 4. Bought Jimmy Johnson a little extra time, pulled away maybe about a car length or so, but Harvick battles to the back bumper again off turn 2 the following lap. Comes down to the last lap. We've seen the bumpers be used before in this game, the EA Sports games in general, so don't be surprised if Harvick does it. He's been pretty clean racing with Johnson so far, but later and later we get more of the animosity is going to build up. And that closer instinct in Kevin Harvick will start to sink in. Yeah, it was always pretty funny. Those mini cutscenes they had. Can't actually hear what they're saying, so they're arguing and the music's playing in the background. It just looks pretty funny. Slap traffic's not going to get any easier for the 29 and the 48. Got a ton of cars in front of him. Beneficial maybe for Harvick to at least give him a chance to maybe get around Johnson. So far, though, Johnson's gotten through the lap traffic good. A little loose getting into one. Still passes the 123 off the exit of the corner. Harvick will have to get around him in 3 and 4. 26 laps to go at the line. Got about 4 laps in a minute here. There's not too many more minutes left for Kevin Harvick, and he got really loose off turn 2. 29 car is digging. Trying to give himself a chance late. Johnson does not want to get passed in the last lap by Harvick 2 races in a row. Johnson having those fresher tires, though. Helped him a ton that time off, too. A little mistake getting into turn 3, though, for Jimmy. Almost opened the door for Harvick. It was a big mistake by Johnson. We'll stack up with the lap cars through 1 and 2 up there. Didn't stack up the leaders at all, though. They were far enough behind him. Battling really hard. Harvick is right there. Bobby Boone in the 149. The next lap car in front of Johnson. He's trying to get underneath the 22 of Scott Wimmer right now. 21 to go. Johnson follows Boone to get underneath Wimmer. Johnson's got a teammate, Terry Labonte, up here. I'm sure Terry's going to let his teammate, the race leader, go. Oh, Wimmer pulled down right in front of Harvick off turn 4. 20 to go. Johnson underneath Boone. Rookie Scott Riggs going to let Johnson go. Johnson's finally starting to pull Harvick. Almost got into Riggs in 1 and 2. Johnson overdrove the corner, but he had him cleared. A little contact the lap cars out of the rear view of the 48. That's what he wants to see. Now he's got separation from the 29, and desperation is really starting to kick in for Kevin Harvick. Johnson's got a teammate, Terry Labonte, right in front of the 29 as well. That is going to help Johnson ever so much. Trying to get under the 174 and does. Underneath Ricky Craven. Just over a 1 second lead for Johnson. Ooh, up the track go. A couple lap cars, a little contact. 15 to go. Last thing Jimmy would want to see now is another caution. If it comes out with less than 10 laps to go, a restart will happen. With all the lap cars behind all the lead lap cars, it will not be on the inside. There's the 147 of Doug Ferguson, who flipped, bringing out that last caution with about 87, 88 laps to go. He is still in the race. Barrel rolling at Bristol, climbing over the 0-1 of Joe Nemechek, who's having a great day, and then he's got a little out of shape off 4. Johnson with a tiny bit of contact with Ward Burton in the 0. Oh! Burton crowded Johnson off turn 2. I think that was a little payback for Jimmy getting into him in the corner before. It costed Johnson about 2 to 3 tenths of a second. Ten to go. 9/10 of a second lead. Harvick trying to close about as best as he can right now. He's still got about 3 lap cars in between himself and Johnson. Time is running out and fast. Jimmy trying to be the first repeat winner this season. Oh, lap car's going to cross Johnson back over. Back to the inside. Jimmy stuck up high. Ward Burton's going to get back underneath him now. Johnson's on the outside. Finally gets to the bottom in front of Kyle Petty. That's going to cost him time. Harvick underneath Petty into 1 and 2. Harvick, new life, and now they're stacking up again. Well, beating and banging with the lap cars in front of the 48. 7 to go, and Harvick is right to the back bumper of Johnson again. The contact with Ward Burton, and then the crossover by the 184 of Earl Hall. Kept Johnson on the outside. Jimmy trying to get underneath Ray Parker now in the 141. 1 lap car between the top 2 again. Coming to 5 laps to go, this time by Doug Ferguson, Earl Hall, the only 2 lap cars right in front of Jimmy Johnson after that. No more lap cars the rest of the race. If Jimmy could get around these 2 right now. Harvick just got around Parker. Johnson underneath Ferguson into turn 1. 4 laps to go. Harvick's just going to have to follow him by Ferguson, it looks like. It's not quite close enough yet. Underneath Earl Hall off turn 4 now. 3 to go. Johnson trying to break away. Hall's really crowding Jimmy. Jimmy's clear off turn 2. And no crossover by Hall this time. 2 to go at the line. Harvick's got to hustle if he's going to want a chance to get to Johnson's back bumper. About a half a second difference, roughly. 1 lap car between the top 2 as well. Lap and a half to go. Now Johnson just wants to see that white flag. Can Harvick make a last lap pass on Johnson for the second straight race? We're going to see right here. Final lap, he's got about 3 to 4 car lengths. I don't think he's going to have a chance to get to the back bumper of Johnson into 3. There's just too big of a gap. It's going to close hard, but it's too little too late. And Jimmy Johnson is going to win the Food City 500 at Bristol. A max points day for Johnson. This will move him into the top 10 in the point standings. And a big-time win for the 48. First repeat winner of the year. His second win in the first 6 races. And keeps the streak of 5 straight top 10s alive. A little Polish victory lap for the 48. And a big-time win here for Jimmy. Pretty good race here at Bristol. Lap traffic was just too much for Kevin Harvick to handle. Almost costed Johnson there that brief moment, but then he pulled back away again those final 3 to 4 laps after getting around Earl Hall the second time. And then they really held Harvick up those last 4 laps, allowing Johnson to get about a 3 to 4 car length gap, which was big enough that Harvick couldn't use the bumper on Johnson because he wasn't close enough those final couple laps by the time he got around Earl Hall. Bunch of allies. That's good to see. And there's a look at your finishing results. Top 10 runs like that. Jimmy Johnson with the race win. 2 hours, 19 minutes total time of the race today with 4 cautions per incident. Kevin Harvick finishes second at 3/10 of a second behind the race leader. Kurt Busch came back to finish third. He had a quiet but good day. He was up there early and second, challenging for the lead. Then he fell back and I guess got back up to third. So good finish. Tony Stewart finishes fourth. Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 5. Rusty Wallace sixth. Ryan Newman, who led a lot of laps, finished in seventh. Rookie Brian Vickers finishes eighth. Dale Jr., first car lap down, finishes ninth. And Bobby Labonte rounds out the top 10 with just those eight drivers finishing on the lead lap. We had 4 cautions for 12 caution laps, 37 lead changes, a lot of those during green flag pit stops. But we did have probably about 20 lead changes on the track, though, throughout the course of this race. 4 cautions again. 293 laps led for Johnson. He did lead over half the race. Harvick led 9 laps, challenged there late. Stewart led 54. Didn't realize he led that many. Kenseth led 5. Rusty Wallace led 14. Newman led over 100 laps. All those in the first half of the race. He led 118. Casey Kane, rookie, led 7 laps. I think that was it for laps led in this one. We'll take a look at who all DNF'd. Jeff Green DNF'd at lap 296. He had an engine failure. Thomas, one of the fantasy drivers, DNF'd at lap 80 with an engine failure. Elliott Sadler, we saw him blow an engine there late. And those are the only 3 drivers that failed to finish this race. Poor Mark Martin was involved in 2 cautions. Had a lot of damage because of it and finished 40th. He wasn't that fast before that, but that definitely didn't help him. 8 laps down for him as well. I want to see where Doug Thompson finished. Doug Ferguson. Doug Ferguson flipped after climbing over the 0-1 of Joe Nemechek under that last caution with less than 90 laps to go, and still finished the race with damage in 21st. In fact, beat Nemechek, the car he climbed over, who also finished the race with significant damage in 25th. Great fight to the finish for those guys. That is going to cap this one off. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night on the channel with some more NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 action. Busch Series will return. It will be at the formerly known as Nazareth Raceway, Nazareth Speedway. That is a track that is no longer on the Busch Series, or really a track in general. It is now vacant, but we get to run there. It was on the Busch Series schedule in 2004, so like, share, subscribe, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for that special event.